Welcome into another episode of the UCLA Bruins Insider Podcast on Sports Illustrated from the Fans First Sports Network. My name is Tom Cavanaugh. Follow me at TCAV30 on Twitter/X and also follow our insider pages at UCLA Insider on SI. That is both on Twitter/X and over on Facebook. Today is Wednesday, April 23rd, and today we are breaking down kind of the quarterback situation in Westwood. There are some puzzling pieces that we got to kind of pick up and put together here. For specifically the incoming freshmen, you got two high-star recruits that signed with UCLA in four-star Robert McDaniel and then three-star quarterback Henry Hasselbeck. That's the son of 17-year NFL veteran Matt Hasselbeck. And these two guys, it's kind of really up in the air to see where they will land, either if it's going to be staying in Westwood with UCLA or if they transfer out. And the reason being is because of the latest, splash when it comes to the transfer portal and how UCLA has really improved their quarterback room. We're going to get into all of it and kind of just break down the trickle effect that has been had over the last week, because you look about 7 days ago, this was a quarterback room where, Joey Aguilar, the transfer from App State, he was going to be your guy. He was the number one coming off a pretty solid year for the Mountaineers. And then there was kind of everybody else in that quarterback room. You had, as we mentioned, McDaniel and Hasselbeck, had a couple of highly touted recruits that probably weren't going to start their freshman year, but they were going to work into the program, and hopefully, since Aguilar was a senior, those guys could start to pick it up a little bit and, start to kind of show head coach Deshaun Foster, offensive coordinator Tino Sunseri, and the rest of this coaching staff that they would be able to be sufficient and play in a UCLA-type offense. But with the addition of both Nico and Madden, got to say this right this time, Iamaleava, the Iamaleava brothers, they both commit to UCLA. Now, you look at it, Nico, coming from Tennessee, he was a freshman star with the Volunteers last year in the SEC. Obviously, we talked about it yesterday, kind of just his holding out with the Volunteers, sitting out of spring practice, and then leaving and transferring to UCLA. Since then, just a day later, his brother Madden, who UCLA had a prior commitment from back in May of last year, he then flipped to Arkansas. He flips back to UCLA just a day after his older brother commits. So when you look at the quarterback room, you got a sophomore in Nico. You have his brother Madden, who's a freshman. And then you got McDaniel and Hasselbeck, two guys that are also freshmen on this team that, where are they going to be set on this depth chart? Where are they going to find a place to be able to play? Because a week ago, it was a lot more manageable for both of those two guys to compete for a starting spot maybe next year or the year after that, after Aguilar cleans up his final year of eligibility and finishes his career. That is no longer the case. I know it's the new era of college football, and it's really hard to keep guys for more than 1 year. So if you look at it, both Nico and Madden, Iamaleava, they are on 1-year contracts currently. But hypothetically, let's say they stay a couple of years. Nico, he's got 3 years of eligibility left. If he were to stay in Westwood, he'd play, I'd say, probably the last 3 years of his career as a starter. That's kind of also why Madden was puzzling on why he'd come to the team, because he's got 4 years of eligibility. If Nico were to start the last 3, Madden's coming in as a senior as a starter. He's not playing his first 3 years. So that was weird, but we're mostly focusing right now on Robert McDaniel and Henry Hasselbeck, because one of those two quarterbacks was not at spring practice, the 10th spring practice on Tuesday afternoon. When you look at it, Henry Hasselbeck did not attend. Daily Bruin reporter Kai Dizon, he reported that, or he took a photo actually from practice on Tuesday, and it showed the entire quarterback room minus the Iamaleavas, because they just haven't gotten to campus yet, but Henry Hasselbeck was not on the field taking reps. Now, Robert McDaniel was, and there was, I think, a Daily Bruin report from Monday, that was saying that McDaniel was headed to the transfer portal. And I think that was kind of cleaned up, and that is not true, because LA Times reporter Ben Bolsch, he tweeted out early on Tuesday morning, he said Robert McDaniel, this is end quote, Robert McDaniel is at practice today and has not told the UCLA staff anything about entering the transfer portal, Deshaun Foster said. So if Foster confirms it, that means McDaniel, right now, he's still looking to compete for a spot. But in Hasselbeck's case, he was not at practice as a 3-star recruit coming out of Massachusetts. He enrolled back in January at the university. And just based on him not being there, it makes me think that he might be hitting the portal to try to find a new destination where he might not start in his freshman season, but it gives him a better chance over the next couple of years. Because if you look at this UCLA quarterback room over the next several seasons, there's not really a lot of room for these incoming freshmen to be able to make a mark and play unless they're able to beat out both Nico and Madden. I'm not saying that's impossible, but the Bruins put all their eggs in one basket with these two brothers, and the talent level of Nico that we saw at Tennessee, definitely serviceable and can translate over to this UCLA offense. And then you got Madden as well, who was a 4-star recruit, one of the top in his class, ranked, I think, 29th overall at the quarterback position in the nation. So you got a couple of really, really nice players there. And it just kind of stinks for both Hasselbeck and McDaniel that those guys aren't able to get those opportunities because in the blink of an eye, in less than a week, there's two guys that have just skyrocketed up the depth chart from out of thin air. And I would not fault McDaniel for making the decision to transfer out. I would not fault Hasselbeck for making that same decision to leave because, I mean, you're obviously needing more than two quarterbacks in your room. But with this type of college football era and how it's going, you know, the flexibility of the transfer portal, it's so easy for these guys to just realize they're not going to be on the field for a couple of years and try to take their talents somewhere else. So we'll keep you updated on all those situations, but this is kind of just diving into this quarterback room for UCLA and how it's shaping up. It's looking good for the future, obviously with the Iamaleava brothers. Aguilar, unfortunately, had left, but that made sense. We talked about that yesterday. So we're just going to keep an eye on it, and however this thing kind of shakes out, UCLA may have a 4-5 quarterback room. They might have maybe 3 or 4 guys. Who knows? We'll see. That's going to do it for us here on the UCLA Bruins Insider Podcast from the Fans First Sports Network. My name is Tom Cavanaugh. Follow me at TCAV30 on Twitter/X, and also follow our insider pages at UCLA Insider on SI. That is both on Twitter/X and over on Facebook. Thanks so much, everybody. We will talk to you again soon.